So you're asking why are Sargon and Dankula getting involved with the party, basically?
And why is the party actually seemingly, at least as far as we can tell, giving them at least momentary credence to that idea?
Well, I think it's because they see that these people bring in a lot of money, and we need that at the moment, of course, to grow our voter base. They bring in a lot of money with the new members. And I also think it's because, at least until today, the leadership didn't quite know what was going on with certain people.
So, what's magical about today? If you're able to discuss, I mean, I'm assuming it's partly as the personal optics and everything.
I mean, I'm able to discuss it. Today, I met with Gerard Batten and David Curtin and a bunch of other people, including a couple of UKIP councillors, in a pub setting, and I produced a video showing a lot of the things that specifically Sargon and his group have said, and I've shown that to them, and I'm basically making the case that these people are not suitable for the party, not only in their policy specific. I mean, I'll get onto that later on. I'm sure you guys have a relatively good idea of what's in the video, but also
it's linked in the description below if you want to check it out.
Yeah, not only in that way, but also the fact that they seem to be joining the party for rather malicious and self-important reasons.
Why would you describe it as malicious and self-important? If you could expand on that, please.
Well, I mean, they don't really give a toss about the party. They just want to buttress their own position. At least in Sargon's case, that seems to be the case.
Mm-hmm. So you're basically saying that he's brigading your party for the purposes of self-aggrandizement?
Yes, and I've got proof as such.
Which is the proof?
Well, I mean, Sargon openly in the video talks about subverting and infiltrating the party, which doesn't sound like somebody who's joining a party in good faith. I think you'll agree.
Where did he say that, by the way? I know it, but just for our audience's sake.
Well, within the video that he's linked in the description, I think it's roughly 2.5 minutes inside the video. I mean, you can...
Yeah, no, but where did he publicly say this?
Oh, yeah. He said that in an interview with Kevin Logan on his live stream channel in front of, at this point, I think 90,000 people.
So in front of 90,000 people, he openly said that he planned to infiltrate the UKIP party? What was that? What was the term? Infiltrate and what else?
Well, subvert,
subvert, right.
That's some real Yuri Bezmenov kind of stuff,
Uh-huh. So he this master manipulation, this secret plan was spoken of in front of 90,000 viewers?
And just to put things into perspective, if you know, how many members are actively in the UKIP as of now before Sargon brought in his people?
I think it's around 23,000.
So pretty much 4+ times. He said to 4+ times as many people as he's trying to convince that he's going to be doing this. Yeah, that's intelligent optics there, right then.
Yeah. I mean, he's clearly. I mean, he's graduated from Oxford with a degree in espionage, right there.
So why exactly is UKIP? What's UKIP's position insofar as Sargon's membership is?
Well, he's currently still a member, but I can tell you for a fact that the leadership were not happy with what they saw because I showed them the video below. Mm-hmm. I showed one guy, David Curtin, about half of it, and I went off to go grab a beer, and he took the earplugs out and said to me, "I don't need to see any more of this." And he said he was exceptionally unhappy with Sargon, and he said that if Sargon was right there, he'd have a really big argument with him, and that what he was saying was unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And was that, like, I'm assuming it's above and beyond policy at a certain point. Like, this is, just now getting into almost, like you said, optics or whatever, personal matters.
I mean, go and watch the video for yourselves.
Yeah,
the guy clearly reckons himself rotten, and he has no reason to reckon himself rotten. He just joined like 3 or 4 days ago, at least in the context of this video. It might not even been that. I think it might have been 2 days. And he's already talking about how he's going to change the party and how he's going to be leader and what he's going to do with the manifesto, even though, first of all, it takes 5 years to actually stand as part of the really high up parts of UKIP, which is kind of a silly oversight on his part, to say the least. But also, do you see the problem? I mean, he just randomly walks in here and he thinks he's like,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's imagine this to me. I've listened to the clip and everything, and it's an example to me of someone who's never actually had a real job interview. Because you don't go into a job interview saying, I'm the biggest, baddest motherfucker here, and I know how to do things. I'll tell you how to do your job. There's a certain degree to which, you tell people it's like, I think this is a good opportunity or not, but you don't come in and say, I'm the next CEO.
I mean,
let me tell you.
yeah. I mean, so far as I'm aware, before he did this whole YouTube thing where he managed to ruin the Keck meme, before he did that, he worked mostly warehouse jobs, I think, and he dropped out of university after his first year, which, honestly, considering the standard, I think it was exceptionally difficult to do. I'll say that.
Getting back to this situation here, I mean, the optics of Sargon are pretty bad. In the past 6 months, he's said some fairly horrifying things on a political level. I mean, things that if they came out in the mainstream media, well, he himself would be crucified, but the party he's associated with would be severely damaged. I mean, what upside is there, apart from the members, what upside is there for UKIP to allow him to join?
I don't actually know. I think maybe, I mean, one extra ego, I suppose, but I don't see anything beyond that, really.
Well, is there, because this is the something I'm trying to wrap my head around, is the degree to which the potential people Sargon can bring in are more valuable than Sargon himself. It's like, is there a way, what's the, because it sounds like that's the conundrum, right? There's the financial conundrum, but there's also just bodies on the ground, people who could conceivably get shit done. And is there a question of saying, like, well, perhaps by virtue of Sargon doing this thing, of Dankula doing his thing, so on and so forth, even though they may not be ideal party members, yet people who follow them may actually will be, good party members. And is there that kind of mentality going on where you're trying to kind of square those two situations, like, let's get the members without the heads?
I mean, I can certainly see there being a lot of very good potential members within their audiences. However, one of the problems that I actually brought up to Sargon when I talked to him in private was that I have a serious problem with a lot of the decorum with his fans. For example, I actually went to one of his meetups last year and I saw many people, and I'm not exactly a small man. I'm 6'2" and built like a fucking truck, right? Frankly, and
Yeah, I've met
I'm
Mauritian in real life. It's true.
and I'm not skinny. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of it. I'm a lot less bad than I used to be, at least as like a school, but I'm still not exactly thin. And I was thinner than about 60 to 70% of the people there. And I mean, I'll just give you an example. I think I'll articulate the point rather well with this. So at a certain point, a man called V showed up, who's a Romanian, and he's kind of semi-famous. He's very, very close with Sargon. He seems like a decent fellow, honestly. But when he shows up, the entire crowd, besides me and a couple of friends, they do this yell. Bear in mind, this is in the middle of central London. We're surrounded by people, families out on nights, on days out even. Like, it's a Saturday, I think it was. And everyone reads really loudly. They read exceptionally loudly for about 3 minutes. And naturally, being a sane human being,
Right.
I am in the middle of, like, I literally physically cringe. Like, I actually, like, it's so embarrassing. People in the park, like thousands of people, are looking at this crowd of obese to morbidly obese men who aren't shaved and aren't washed, making a resound because a Romanian showed up to the meetup. Now, I think I've pretty much articulated the problem of decorum within that movement. I think you'd agree.
Well, I mean, it reminds me of what's that party who always like fields candidates who are dressed up in like ridiculous clothing to the elections in the UK. I forget their name.
I think it's the Monster Roving Looney Pie.
Yeah, it's basically guys like that, but they're not wearing costumes.
I mean, I'm sure that at university you couldn't get enough mushrooms to make the students act like that, like on that kind of level.
Let me ask you something more serious, though. I heard reports that at least one of the UKIP members of the House of Lords, they have three, I believe, at least one of them was going to resign if Sargon continued in UKIP. Is that accurate?
I have a source, and he seems to be reliable, but I'm not sure I can confirm or deny that because it's not absolutely 100% certain.
Okay, but there is some credence to this rumor then.
I trust the man, I'll say that, but not so much that I commit to that statement.
Okay. So potentially, if Sargon were to continue in UKIP, UKIP would suffer more defections. More people would leave.
Yeah, we currently have 3 lords in the House of Lords, and if this is true, we would have 2, and that's not good.
Certainly not. And potentially only 1, if it's true that it might be more than 1.
Yeah, I can't speak for that though.
Okay. Now, this is very delicate because this is an ongoing situation, so we don't really know what's going to happen, right? But would it be fair to say that with the statements so far, because you were the one who created this video, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And what was your rationale for creating this video?
Well, I spent a long time after talking to Sargon, and after realizing how much of a problem this would be, constructing a dossier. And I realized that where I was going, it wouldn't necessarily be the best. It was an indiscreet thing. I couldn't just walk in there with a dossier. So me and a friend, actually a couple of friends, spent maybe 10 hours constructing this video because I figured it would be a really good way of basically proving my point to everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and again, it's you're talking about public videos that are contemporarily describing the situation at hand, right? It's not like you had like a private conversation and it's like, okay, I'm going to release this shit. It's stuff that, it's publicly happening as we speak, literally.
Yeah, you can go and find them. I've linked all of the sources in the description. Although I'm aware, actually, that in the very, very last one, the video by Lucy Brown, she actually deleted the tweet. And I mean, if you watch it, you can see why, but it doesn't matter because someone else, in fact, from the woman presenting it, tweeted it out anyway. So you can still find it on her Twitter feed, at least.
Well, the very fact of its existence proves that it was created by them. So it's, even though the tweet where it first appeared is gone, the actual video is still in circulation and is reproduced. So it's out there, and it's not. It's the genie's out of the bottle. But what's interesting to me about those ads, the Dankula ad and the Lucy Brown ad, is the tone of them, both of them, is like they no longer know how to speak to normal people. They can only speak in, not English, they speak in shitpost. That is their language. Because it sounds, both ads seem as if they are mocking UKIP. That's the impression I got. Benway, I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 phrases come to mind. It's one in particular that's like UKIP because fuck it. Yeah. That's a general attitude of frankly contempt. One or two. It's like this party's so bad we can do what we will, and that if you still believe in the party, as whatever its path it is on, I don't see how you can treat that as anything other than someone just coming into your sandbox and saying we're taking over now.
It's just ridiculous. Why would anybody do that? Why would any serious person do that to a political movement? I found it actually exceptionally insulting because I honestly, and I think everyone else within the party, at least the serious members, can agree that we see UKIP as the only solution to many of the UK's current problems. And I think to have a bunch of amateurs belittle us it's frankly A, insulting, and it B, just undermines their own intelligence because, like I said in the video, these people are really closely associated to the guy who will apparently change things when he's leader.
Yeah, because
So-
the conversation with Kevin Logan, he's basically saying that he's going to change everything, and it's going to be in his image. That seems pretty arrogant. I mean, especially when you're going to a party that you don't really know anybody in the party, you don't even know the tenets of the party, and you admit in that live stream that you don't know the tenets of the party when some particular issues are brought up, and then you say that, well, I don't like those, so I'm going to change them unilaterally.
It's not even that. It's just the exceptional arrogance towards religious communities in this country as well.
Yeah.
I mean, insisting that, I mean, this isn't actually in the video, this is in the stream, but insisting that we translate everything into English in all religious ceremonies when you can't even name the religious ceremonies you want to convert. I mean, this is embarrassing stuff. It's damning stuff.
Yeah. Are we going to have to sing the Te Deum in English? What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean-
it just seemed absurd, absurdly arrogant, and short-sighted, and completely unaware of the realities. It's the ultimate Dunning-Kruger effect of somebody who knows absolutely nothing about a given situation, thinking that he's an expert. It seemed
Yeah.
rather.
Oh, it's my favorite hypocrisy actually in that video. He's so in favor of freedom of speech, yet if a Jew calls their holiday Yom Kippur, it's not allowed because it isn't in English. It's just ridiculous. It's like it's freedom of speech when he wants it, and we cannot accept that because we do stand for freedom of speech absolutely for all people within this country.
Mm, mm. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's clear because he's from the skeptic community. He has consistently maintained an anti-religious stance. I mean, to that regard, at least he's sincere on that front. But the idea, that's kind of why I also wanted to talk to you about like the religious toleration within the party as it is, which is legitimate religious toleration. It's not like, oh, we say religious toleration, but what we're really saying is everything but Christianity. This is, something a little bit more substantial here.
Yeah.
That's why it just seems to me just above and beyond the optics, which are just obviously what they are, that's just fundamental core policy issues that are even in line. So, that's why I asked, like, so, must be a contemptuous arrogance to that. And there must also be, people in the party who don't know Sargon day in from day out could be blindsided by this.
Yeah, I mean, I actually met a guy. I think he was a counselor for Dartford. I think he is. I never got any sort of confirmation, but I suspect he is because he looked very similar to the guy who was, and I know he was there. And he thought, well, when we mentioned Sargon, he was like, oh, Sargon, he's really good. Then I showed him that video, and he's like, I can't believe I liked Sargon. And a lot of people will get blindsided because they just don't know this stuff.
Mm. So it's sort of like a situation where it's like a Monet. From far away it looks great, but as you get closer, it becomes a big old mess.
Yeah, I mean, he seems superficially good. I mean, he's got great subscriber numbers. He looks like he's got good viewership, although he's lost 50% of his viewership in a year. Or at
How's
least
that? How's that?
I don't know how he lost them. I think it might have something to do with just repeated abysmal debate performance. But I mean, and also the fact the guy is becoming tired and just kind of declining. He's turning into the amazing atheist, basically.
Mm.
In more ways.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about on this podcast he independent of this move to UKIP, there was an attempt above and beyond Sargon's, some legitimately big people to have that Day for Freedom march, the Freedom of Speech march. I don't remember how long ago it was. Let's say a couple months or a month and a half or something like that. Yeah, exactly. And the turnout rate of that was 4,000, and that's with Sargon plus quite a bit of other people, including I think Raheem, what's his face from Breitbart, who actually is associated with at least the older generation of UKIP, and if collectively that's getting 5,000. One begs to ask the question: yeah, you have pretty good subscriber numbers, but will a significant enough portion actually contribute to the party above and beyond just some raw cash here?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this delusion within the liberalists, and I've noticed this, that they think that their autistic memes will win the youth when they're only winning about 3% of the youth.
Yeah,
it's. I mean, we can joke about autistic things till the end of the earth, but the thing is that 97% of the youth aren't watching you. And I don't think they're going to be watching him anytime soon because I think Sargon is declining.